The topic is how do you love and how do you receive love? Now, you know, um, we it's very important that you know how to receive love, because you know what a man receives love is totally different how a woman thinks how she receives love. And yeah, for me, if you ask me, Marianne, how do I receive love? I said, let's go to the bedroom and then we can talk about that.
Don't think that's so clever because that's not necessarily love when I want it. So, how do I receive love as a woman? I
Yeah,
want a lot of affection. And of course, I want all sorts of other things. But listen, Charles, this is about Valentine's weekend.
yeah,
So, what are we going to talk about here? And I think it's rather important to understand that what we are going to talk about tonight is the real thing called love, not the emotion. It's
yeah,
what you feel in your heart.
yeah. Yes, you know, it's very important also that is how you feel. I think there's a saying that they say feelings are neither right or no wrong. Because if I say I'm feeling offended, doesn't mean I'm actually offended. I'm feeling offended, you know. And now don't you get offended now because I'm feeling offended. So it's a feeling that you feel, and I think if we can get that thing with our spouse, right? When your spouse say, "I'm feeling hurt," when you say that, she doesn't mean that you are the wrong person, you are the bad person. That's how she received it.
Yeah. So being offended is one of the things we're not even going to talk about tonight because many of us are offended and we can easily be offended. Offense is taken and offense is not given. So you have a choice to be
Yeah,
offended. Did you know that? You have a choice to take offense or you have a choice to be okay. So we're really going to talk tonight about how do I love and how do I receive love? So when I talk about people saying how are they loved, won't you please be so nice right now in the chat? Won't you type in how do you think you like to receive love? What do you want? Just type in there quickly. Let's see what your answers are so that we can share that with our friends as well. And as we are sharing, then I see there, oh, there's somebody, good evening,
yeah,
all the way from Johannesburg. Oh, London. I'm Maria van der Walt. Met 'n boerevan soos daai in Londen kry jy baie koud. We are so hot here and you are so cold there. But thank you for joining us all the way from London. And so let's talk about quickly. Let us know, how do you receive love? I'm not saying how does somebody love you. I'm saying how do you like to receive love? Let's think about that.
yeah. And I think also that your partner, it's very important how your partner receives love. Uh, how do you look when you give love to your partner? You think it's love because you know my love language is touch. I love Marianne to touch me and hang over me, kiss me. But that's not necessarily that she wants it. You know, now I think, okay, now this is what I like. Now I'm gonna give Marianne all love, hugging and kissing her all over. That's not necessarily what she likes.
No.
She's totally different. She's not impressed with all this touching and kissing and things like that.
Not really. But do you know that I will do it because I know that Charl likes it. But we've spoken about that many, many times. So let's see. Is anybody going to
I
say
like to
how?
cuddle. That's the
Somebody
one.
says they like to cuddle.
Oh,
That is
wonderful.
something that's important because I'm going to tell you why it's important. Anybody else, give us quickly. What do you say? How do you like to receive love?
David Martin said touch.
Let's touch. Thank you, David. That's very good. So let's see who else is saying, how would you like to be touched? How, I
Affection.
mean,
Rita
affection.
Sheffer said, my love language is affection.
Affection. Isn't it similar to touch?
Yeah,
Touch and hug and cuddle and things. So that's very important. Anybody, words of love, Jonita, thank you for that. Words of love.
yeah,
I think that is very important because we sometimes miss that simply because we think that we know it all. And if I just say, if I just ignore and you have to do things, then I miss the point that words of love are so important. And then it says there that somebody else's words, yeah,
yeah,
just to be acknowledged. I
yeah,
like that one.
yeah,
Haley, that is so important,
yeah,
just to be acknowledged, understanding. understanding, to be validated. Oh my goodness, that's so important. I love to be there when people, I love to be for people. Linda, you've just hit it on the nail.
Yeah.
I love to be
Quality time.
for people.
Cindy van Willig, quality time.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah.
Cindy, you like quality time. Yeah, so most of us do like quality time. But let's talk about this, Charl. What is the thing that makes people really feel loved?
Uh, You know, Marianne, it's very important to actually find out what make you feel love. You know, if I can discover what make you feel love, many times we don't even listen. I say always to the men, listen what your wife's saying. If she say she want to go out alone with you to the bush, listen. That's what she wants to go to a bush with you alone, not with 10 other different people. She wants to be
I
with
think
you
he's
alone.
preaching to himself,
Yeah, I'm
excuse
talking
me,
to myself.
because he likes people, and it's true. You get people who like people, and you get other
Yeah.
people who would like to be alone. I'm
Yeah.
one of those. It says, "Take me alone to the bush. Good times are
And
waiting
I
for
would
you."
say, let's gather some lot of people together. But you know what? I just give you an example. The one time, one year, I said to my aunt, we're going to a place outside Baviaans called Baviaans Kloof, not far from here. I'm going to take you out there December. But I was not meaning take her alone. I was just saying, oh, let's go alone. And I tell you what, it was 7 days and I gave all the attention, everything to her. It was difficult because we go to the campsite and I
There are
love
lots
to
of
talk to
people.
people. And after the 7th day, and we're coming back home, she said, "This is the best holiday I ever had." And I mean, sleeping in a tent, and I mean, it's not a 5-star hotel, sleeping in a tent in a bush, and do all kind of bushy things. And that's what she loved. I mean, that's why I said to you earlier, let's listen what the girl is saying. I want to be alone with you. And yeah, so
And then do that. I like what Nantes van Greenen is saying. He says, anything, anyway, without moans and groans, touching, cuddled, listen to when you are talked to, admired, complimented, and acknowledged. I like that, Nantes. That's really brilliant. Because the truth is, we all like that. But let's look at that. What's been happening in this season of lockdown and the pandemic? What have they done to us? They've actually isolated us. They've removed us from each other. They've actually succeeded in making us afraid of each other. And so you are not the same person as you were before, because you almost don't feel you've got the liberty to hug and squeeze and cuddle and things like this, because you don't know where your spouse were today and what's happened to them. But I know that one thing they say that most couples want in life, they want contact, comfort. Just
yeah,
think for a minute. Contact, comfort. I'm sitting right next to Sean, and I always love the feeling of having him next to me, feeling him, even when we are as angry as anything can be. Just to have him next to me, that feeling makes me so comforted, makes me feel so comforted. At night when we get into bed, he doesn't, it's now so hot, we don't even bother to touch too much, but I would every now and again just touch his head here and just feel that he's there. That makes me feel comforted. So, what are we saying? The feeling of just to touch somebody, be next to
yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
being touched, be somebody else sitting right next to you. That feeling of contact gives you comfort. Just think about it. What do you think? Let me know. Do you agree with that?
Monica Sheriff said she loved pasta. Now, it sounds a very uh, a simple thing, but you know what? I love pasta too, by the way, Monica. When Marianne cooked for me pasta, and it doesn't always happen. I don't like to cook pasta, but when she does, I receive that as love. I receive
Mm.
that she really do it for me alone, and I think that's the type of thing we're trying to tell you. Do what you don't like to her, or vice versa to him.
I see what Esther Botha says, not just couples, single people miss the touch so much. You are so right. And older people, nobody, do you know, can I tell you something that's very interesting? They have proven this. If a baby is born and the baby is not touched and cuddled, that baby will feel rejection for the rest of their lives. How sad is that? And they've proven that a baby that's prematurely born, that if that baby is not hugged, kissed and cuddled, that baby will suffer. So what is important is that we must understand we are beings that need to touch. You don't have to be the major cuddly type, but you want to just be next to somebody, just to feel that comfort. And I like the word that is contact comfort, and that's what we need to find in each other. Contact comfort. That is our desire to be touched and to be held. And that's why it's so important. I have a daughter in England, by the way. She's also very cold at the moment, Heather. And she used to say to me after she was naughty and I disciplined her as a little child, she says, just hold me, mommy, just hold me. Isn't it strange? Even when you fail, you still want to be contact comforted. You want to feel that feeling, I'm okay. So I want to encourage all of you right now in our chat line, won't you just chat there and just send us a message at hashtag hashtag contact comfort. Just hashtag contact comfort, because that's the word we are going to talk about tonight. That feeling that you are loving on somebody else. And then Nandi says,
Nandi, what do you do when none of these good things happen in your marriage? So yeah, that is a
well,
yeah.
Nandi, if you are married, I hope you are in the same bed at night. Why don't you reach out? Just one touch. Touch on the shoulder, a touch on the hand. It's a perfect, you can do it. Just try it. Nandi, we've got lots of secret things we can tell you. But one of the big things is what you don't do will not be done to you. Just remember that. Because sometimes our disappointments and sometimes our disillusionments in our spouse, sometimes our expectations, sometimes whatever's gone wrong has actually built a wall between us and our spouse. And you know, it's hard to break a wall, very hard, because those walls are hardened and we sometimes reinforce it by the next thing that happens and the next thing that happens. But those walls are not there because we are just deciding they come over a period. So don't allow those walls to be there. Touch each other, talk to each other. And I know some of us, we want to get to the bottom of it. Somebody says to me the other day, I just need to get to the bottom of this. And I'm not going to let it go before I get to the bottom of it.
Wow. Yeah. And the bottom of it, you're not going to reach because the bottom is very low, very down deep. I think, going on back to what Nandi say, it's very much important that the man or vice versa, that you reach out, as Marianne said, the first, because sometimes listen to the person, listen to your partner. I think that is the main object that we try to say. Listen and read her body language, read what she wants, read what she really wants. When she say she hates something, find out why she hates something. Why she hated because you do this and this. It's not that she hating you. She's frustrated. She's irritated with you. Not because she don't love you. It's just that doing the wrong things. You don't touch the right buttons. You will get to the right button.
So I think sometimes, Charl, we are all irritated. And we get irritated. We're human beings. Nobody's perfect. Don't let anybody tell you they're perfect, that they don't get irritated. They're dead. It's only dead people that don't get irritated, because we are all human beings. But listen to me. Sometimes you just have to let go, because nothing in life is perfect. There isn't a real rule book, and there isn't a perfect marriage. But what you sow is what you are going to reap. I promise you that. So that brings us, I wanted to say something here that Barbara, you've got a very interesting surname. She says her daughter is in Kazakhstan all alone, and she said she's missing skin contact. They're under lockdown, so cannot even go into the school. So she does not see anybody, and she's very lonely. Let me tell you something. What you do for somebody else will actually happen to you. So why don't you today just go to your spouse, put your hand on your spouse, or on your fiance, or your mother, or your daughter, or your man, just find somebody and just go put on them your hand and just say, you are precious. Will you try it? Just let me know. Say, yes, I'm going to try it. Just put it in the chat line and say, yes, I'm going to try saying to somebody they are precious. Because I see there Linda Wallace, she says, thank you, Linda Wallace. She says, contact comfort, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then this is so important. Sometimes we find it hard to forgive somebody because things happen. And you know, we are being in the marriage ministry for many years. We find that people actually divorce for very small things, things that they can actually have worked through. Then we find other people exploding and things that are big and they actually work through it. What makes us really fight through is when we are ready to just let go of the things we cannot change. You know that
Yeah,
feeling?
yeah. The feeling, you know what, many times people getting divorced, the husband running away with another woman or the woman running away with another man. It's not necessarily that that person really want to go run with another man. There's a saying that say, what you don't appreciate, somebody else will appreciate.
That's right.
So if your man want to run with other women, there's something that you don't give, and you have to find out what is that, because that man need touch. Maybe he's really somebody touch, and the other girl really touch him at work and give him all the compliments. So I think it's a very sensitive situation what we're talking about now, but that's real. What you don't use, somebody else will want to use.
Yeah, and I like what the people are saying. Yes, they will go out and touch people. You know, we had one husband saying to us that all I want is when I come home from work, I want my wife to just sit next to me, next to me. That's all I want. I want her to sit next to me. But the wife said to us, I cannot sit next to him because I've got the children to see to, I've got food to see to, I've got a bath, I've got to get everything ready. But do you know that 5-10 minutes that you give to your spouse, just sitting next to your spouse, changes how they feel? Like this, the way Charl and I are sitting, just sit there. It doesn't matter how busy your heart is, how busy your schedule is. Remember, it was the two of you first, not the other things. When you dated, it was easy for you to drop everything and sit next to each other. Why don't we do it now? It's Valentine's, people. Don't give gifts.
Yeah.
Give the thing that counts.
Yeah.
Give contact comfort.
Yeah.
Just go give that tonight. Just go sit next to your spouse and say, you know what? Tonight on Dr. Arthur's program, Charl and Marianne, they were speaking and they said, I need to give you, I keep on saying the words myself, contact comfort. So this is it, Charl.
Yeah.
I'm giving you contact comfort. How does it feel when I sit next to you?
I love it. It's just my blood pressure going like another 10 degrees higher.
Normal, not higher, lower. You know what? There's a happy feeling when we are contacted, when somebody contacts us, when somebody sits next to us. It gives you a feeling of comfort. But what is the goal of every couple? You know, Sean, no couple get married just to get divorced. I don't know about you. I know it's impossible. There's nobody that will go through the process of getting married just to say that eventually we'll get divorced.
Yeah.
Eventually I will cheat on you, you know, and eventually you will cheat on me, or eventually we'll hate each other so much, or eventually I'm not going to forgive you, or eventually you're not good enough anymore. Whatever. We don't think that when we get married. We think this together forever.
Yeah.
What is that? It is a lifetime relationship goal. And somehow, like a New Year's goal, and like a Valentine's goal, and like any other goal, when trouble comes, I drop my goal and I decide I'm fighting you.
Yeah.
It's not us two anymore.
Yes, yeah. I see Marina Rousseau said, I will reach out first, hoping you will put his cell phone down. Now, this thing, people, is a very dangerous thing in a marriage as well. I think when somebody is hooked on a cell phone, it's like almost like addicted, because most people are addicted to cell phone, and cell phone in the marriage is very, very, very a no-no. Now, Marina, what must I do? What will you tell Marina what to do to give this man love? That the cell phone is less important than.
Text him.
Yeah.
Text him.
Yeah.
Say, hi, sweetness. I think you've got gorgeous legs. Just check it out. Quickly do it. Quickly do it now. Do it now. Text him. Say, hi, sweetness, or hi, gorgeous, or hi, handsome. I think you've got gorgeous legs. See
Yeah.
what his response is.
Yeah.
And text him again and say, can I come and sit next to you for 2 minutes? Will you
Yeah.
drop the phone and just look at me for
Yeah.
2 minutes? See what happens. Marina, let us know. We want to know if it really works.
Yeah.
And then I see Merle Joseph. She says, what do you do living with a very aggressive partner that never acknowledges you as a person with feelings? Well, what do you do with an aggressive partner? Number one is you ask nothing, you give comfort. You just
Yeah.
sit like this. Listen, if they're aggressive, if he hits you, if he's abusive, you are in a bad space. But why not try and just give something? Because 99% of the time, I can tell you somebody that's aggressive comes from that kind of background. They come from hurt, they come
Yeah.
from pain, they come from misunderstanding, they come from abuse, they come from many things that we do not even understand. And now they get into this place of aggressiveness, which we find is just a wall that they have been building. How can we break that wall down? Just quietly make a cup of coffee, sit next to that person, and just sit like this. If they throw the coffee at you, still sit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we have to sow something that we do not even have inside of us to reap and to receive something new. Why don't you try it? Let us know. And then John says, I like to have the meal ready when my girl gets home. Oh, John, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of girls that's going to say, John, please come live in my house.
Johnny.
He wants to have the meal ready when his girl gets home. It gives us the time for each other. John, I love you. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
If we do little things that makes that spouse feel totally comfortable when they come home, it changes how they are. But remember, we can't always fix everything. Just
Yeah.
do a small thing. Let's go into this contact comfort
Everyone,
zone.
but everyone is different. I mean, well done for John. But you know, every couple is different. Every person is different. Um, I know a certain couple. The man was working from home, and then he was not doing the things. And then when the wife got home, he said, "But I did this. I did the washing. I did everything." She said, "I don't want a domestic. I want my man. I want a man in my house." So you know what? It's not necessarily the flowers, not necessarily the cooking. You know, so that's why you have to find out what is this girl saying to me, or what is this man saying to me? What is his need? What is really making his heart tick? And yeah, so that is not I'm not disagree with you, John. That's great. I will also do that if I got the time.
But he does. He helps with many other things. I've got a good husband. I thank God for him. He
Yeah.
does. So, for argument's sake, if I cook, so one of the big things how you can show love to your spouse is to share the chores in the house.
Yeah.
Why don't you tonight just say, I'm going to clean the dishes, or I'm going to bath the children, or why don't you sit, my sweetie, and I'm going to make you coffee, or let's go for a walk in PE and Port Elizabeth. It's now the time to walk. Goodness me, it's chill down. It's beautiful outside. Take the dogs for a walk.
Yeah.
And I like Delene Skitter. Thank you very much. She says you are an inspiring couple, a good example from a crazy world. Well, you know what? Charl and
It's a
I
crazy world.
have had to work on this.
Yeah.
Nothing, listen, they say nothing comes free, but a good relationship doesn't come free. It doesn't come free. It can come cheap because you don't have to invest so much money, but boy, do you have to invest in forgiveness. You have to invest in working together. You have to invest to be less than you think you are. You have to, a big one, Shaw.
Yeah.
You have to invest in not always being right.
Yes. Rather be happy than right.
Yeah, rather be happy than right.
Yeah.
So it's important that Charles just going to grab the cable there and put it in because our battery is going a little bit low now. So I'm going to keep on talking to you. So one of the goals that we all have is a healthy relationship. And I think if we all set our goals, I mean, for Valentine, why don't you do me a favor? Just write healthy, I want a healthy marriage. Write it on your window. I love what couples did the last time we asked them. They wrote with lipstick on mirrors and things. So write on your mirror, write on your window, write anywhere. Take a photo and post it on this page. Let us see what you are saying about that. Let's write there, I am going towards a happy, healthy relationship with my spouse. Because a healthy relationship with your spouse should be your number one goal. So work on it. It's something you have to do that will help you.
Yeah.
Michelle, how do we work on a healthy relationship between the two of us?
I think a healthy relationship is, Marianne, we share things, we build things, we talk our feelings, we talk our things, we kind to our families, to each other's in-laws.
Oh,
That's
our
one
families.
of, you know, the
Nice,
family.
our family.
I mean, if I'm nasty with Marianne's family, I mean, I actually, yeah, it makes it very nasty.
Very
Marianne,
difficult.
you know why I love Marianne? She was always nice with my family, always respect them and always love them and give them the love, you know, because yeah, I think that's important that you love your in-laws because because you know what is the word they say mother-in-law is
I don't know. I'm a
the
mother-in-law.
mother of a whatever. Yeah, sorry.
He missed that one.
Yeah, I missed that one.
But you know that small acts of kindness that you can do, just the small things. I know, I see this in lives, is that some of the couples, the husband believes it's the wife's duty to wash the children, get them dressed for bed, do the homework, cook, and she also works. But even if she stays at home, a homemaker, when you come home, do small acts of kindness. So what are those acts of kindness? Those little things that you do. You know what? I believe in one thing, and my life is around that. What you sow.
Right. Yeah.
So we do small acts of kindness all the time. Little things that we do. And you know what? Your spouse may not even notice it. I hear this all the time. Couples say, yeah, but I helped him fixing something and he never even said thank you. And the husband will say, I've been buying flowers and she never says thank you. Well, my dear, just do a little bit more, but find something else. If the flowers didn't work, why don't you just sit with her?
Yeah.
Sit up close and personal.
Yeah.
Don't expect anything more than that. Just sit there and just say nothings. I remember us flying. I don't know, we may have shared the story. The first time we went flying overseas, Charles said to me, you know, you and I don't really talk. We've got nothing to talk about anymore. So how are we going to fill the hours in the airplane? Because we were taking a flight from Port Elizabeth to Johannesburg, from Johannesburg to Egypt.
Yeah.
From Egypt or from to Dubai, and from doesn't matter, from there to London. So it's lots of international airports and things. And he said, "What are we going to do?" And I thought by myself, "That's true. We've got nothing to say." And he came up with this clever idea: let's make a list of things to talk about.
We just made a list.
So
Yeah.
why don't you, if you've got nothing to talk about, make a list. Come in agreement and say, let's make a list. I like what somebody said earlier on the chat. He says, let's write on our car windows.
Yes, yeah.
My goal is healthy relationship with my spouse. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
We can sow the seed. Listen, it's Valentine's. Make it big. Instead of buying flowers, you know,
Yeah.
flowers are overrated.
Yeah.
You know
Chocolates
that.
as well.
Chocolates are overrated. Why don't you do something that your spouse really would like?
Oh.
Do you even know what your spouse wants? Do you even know what your spouse? So, what would you like me to do for you for Valentine's Day?
You know what you want to do is take me to the sand dunes with a blanket and a picnic basket. That's what I love.
He likes that. So I don't particularly like it. I don't particularly like, sorry people for you that's not near the beach. I'm not a big fan of the sand and the sea. I like the bush again. So do you know what I want for Valentine's Day?
Sit in a bush where there's no
So
electricity.
how are we
no
going
nothing.
to compromise?
That, yeah, I think for now we will go to the sand dunes.
We'll go to the sand
But
dunes.
I will go 3 weeks time. I'll definitely make sure that we go to the bush for you again. You see, it's not that I want it now. It's what can I do now? You know, it's always the thinking of money, how much it will cost. You know, the expensive thing is not necessarily what your spouse wants.
Yeah.
Your spouse wants you. You don't want your money.
Yeah.
Your
So
wife wants
something that you can do.
That's right.
So I like it when Charles makes me a smoothie in the mornings. I love it. He makes me my tea in the mornings, but now we've moved up a degree and we're making smoothies.
Yeah.
I love it when he makes me smoothies, but there are days that he cannot make me my tea and he cannot make me my smoothie simply because he's just got such a program. I don't go into a sulking mode and say, you've now forgotten about me and you've hurt my feelings. I don't. What do I do, Charl? I just get up, I make him tea and coffee.
Make me the smoothie.
And I make a better smoothie. He hates ginger. I add ginger. And I just think it's so cool. And he drinks it because he's got no choice. I made the smoothie.
She thinks that ginger is love. It make me is my need, and that's not my need. Anyway, that's a joke.
I like what David Martin, I like that too.
Food love.
Why don't you not give flowers? Why don't you think something that your spouse really wants? Look here, number one, if you've got children in the house, a breather away from the children, every spouse needs it. So I hope you've got people that you can trust and rely on to take your children. And then you give each other a food rub. But no.
The food rub, and David, I'm watching you because you got a food rub. Don't expect anything else back. Do the food rub. Only.
Just do the
I'm watching you, right?
And then make a nice cup of coffee or whatever you do after that and just chill with this thing, sitting next to each other. There's nothing like that. And I see coffee in the morning. Yeah, many people agree with me about the coffee in the morning or the tea in the morning. And
Valentine's Day as well. And Wallace say, hubby and I do not celebrate Valentine's Day.
I totally agree. Yeah. Because why? We have Valentine's every day.
As I was saying, but we're making something other day for Valentine's Day because we're not the same. We don't want to go through the flow. We want to be different.
We're different.
Yeah.
So we don't care, but we can go to the sand dunes. By the way, if you're living in Port Elizabeth, you go to Sardinia Bay. You sit on the sand dunes, you see the sea forever, and then you see the sun setting over the sea and the dunes. Beautiful. I'm going to do it for my husband. I'm a bit of a cold person. He gets very warm, and I will have my blanket and my jacket, and I'll make a nice flask of hot coffee, and I'll take some meal, and he likes chocolates and chips, and we'll have it all right there on the sand dunes until the sun is set, and then we'll go home walking on the sand. And you know what? We'll sit like this. Yeah. It is this contact comfort that we're going to give to each other. Yeah. It is so important. So I like it when people say, what about a hand rub? Have you ever thought of touching your spouse's hand like this and just give a nice rub with cream, and you can use bicarb or something, just a nice rub like this. Give your spouse a nice rub and then cream afterwards. They will love it. They will love it. Do something differently than the standard things that you always thought was the only way to go. And then I like this. Let me just give you this. What would make you most happy? What would make you really most happy? If I ask you tonight, what is the ingredient? What is the thing that will make you most happy? We've seen a lot of things coming through. Can somebody tell me between these three? I'm going to give 3 things. Tell me which of these 3 do you think will make you the most happy? Number 1. You can just type it in as soon as you agree with which one it is. Okay, type it in. Here it comes. Number 1, attention. Would that really make you most happy? Number 2, love. But love is big, it's broad. What kind of love would make you really happy? And the third one is respect. Which one of these 3 would make you most happy? So it's number 1, attention. Number 2 is love. And number 3 is respect. Just quickly answer us here. Let's see in the chat.
Yeah.
Who conversing? Somebody says conversing.
Yeah, I see that Jerry Dane said yes, touch is healing, and couples should touch more.
That's right. Do you know that I'm just using Dr. Phil? For those of you who don't know Dr. Phil, don't worry too much. But Dr. Phil on one of his shows had a couple that says they don't have a romantic relationship anymore. They've lost it. Now remember something, that you make a vow to love until death do us part, to care until death do us part, to nourish until death do us part, to support until death do us part, to forgive until death do us part. We make these vows, but we do not keep it when trouble comes. And it's almost like you have to go and sit and tell yourself, I'm honorable and I'm going to keep to my vows. Yeah. So how do I love? I love first. How do I find forgiveness? I forgive first. How do I nourish? I nourish first. How do I respect? I respect first. How do I love? I love first. So I see what people are saying here. They say respect always. Other people say all three. Attention. Annette Trutter says attention. Attention actually binds a lot of things together. But I want to say something that you have never thought about. You can have two kinds of attention. The one kind of attention is the generous one, the one where you give attention, not expecting attention back. The one where you say, I'm going to give of myself. The one that's just that one that says, attention, I'm going to give you. How do I give attention? It's sitting down and listening to my spouse. The other one is sitting down and listening with an active ear to my spouse. The other one is sitting down, listening to my spouse and not interrupting. The other attention is I will look at little details. That thing that says my spouse is tired and they need chill time just to gather themselves. My spouse needs a cup of coffee, needs a love, he needs a cuddle. That attention that says I'm going beyond what you thought I knew about you. The problem is when we give attention, there are two things. We can give generously to somebody, or we can expect it selfishly.
Yeah.
So when I expect attention selfishly, I actually change the ball game totally, because I will never be satisfied.
Yeah.
I will always feel that I'm done in. I will always feel that my spouse doesn't care enough. I will always feel that nothing is good enough. So how do I change that scenario?
That is a very interesting thing you say, that selfish attention, because it's almost like you're getting in a cocoon that is all about me, it's all about me, nothing about anybody else. Because the attention seeker is selfish. It's almost like you all attention on yourself. But if you start giving attention, Marianne, if you start giving attention to me, it's so easy for me to give attention back.
Yeah.
It's I think the whole ball game is you give me, it make it easy for me to give it back to you. I think that is the main thing that we want trying to say. Because if you give love, if you give respect, it's easy for me to do other things that you like. And I will say that the expectations as well. The attention. When we talk about attention, there's some certain expectations that I need. But my need is not always what Marianne needs. My need is totally different than her need. So I have to find out what is her need, and I go towards and working on her needs, because my need is not important. It's for her to find out what my need is.
So why do you say, Charl, your need is not important when you actually know that what you need is really important? Why do you say that your need is not that important?
My need, you know what? I will talk for the men this evening. Men need sex. They always need sex. And you know what? The need for sex is not because I'm devilish, I'm from the devil, or I'm got a spirit of lust. All those things that people try and say. I need sex. That God made me like that. It's not necessarily that Marianne needs sex. So well, that's another topic on its own. But we will deal
we'll
with.
get there. But why do you say your need is not that important? Your need is not that important because you have learned to live generously.
Yes, yeah.
Because here's something that you cannot go and take money from the bank if you did not invest in that bank account.
Yeah.
You cannot take from a tree if you did not plant the tree and nurture the tree. So it's important to expect from your spouse what you've implanted in. But sometimes we expect, and many people say to me, I've tried it 5 times and he's done nothing. Well, 5 times is clearly not what you needed to try. You need to keep on trying and keep on trying and keep on trying, because the more you invest, the more you will receive back. So generous giving, generous sowing, generous loving, generous touching, being generous with your affection.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange?
It's strange. There we come back again. A man needs sex. A woman needs affection. So if I don't give Marianne the affection that is going accordingly, sorry, Booty, you're gonna hang around dry. Sorry.
So what do I need? I love it when Charl comes home and he just like today, I was lying on the bed just resting for 5 minutes because I had another appointment. I was stung by a bee a week and a half ago and my foot was swelling up very badly. Charl walked into the house, came into the room and he asked me, how's your foot feeling? Do you know that is generous caring? That's because I've forgotten about my foot. My foot is better and it's healthy, but he remembered a little detail about me that was important. So that is how we do generous caring.
Does
That's
that
how
mean I'm sorted
you
tonight?
sort it. That's a good night. That's a good night. I see some people here. Corinne, she said, Visa, she says we must pray together. Yes, definitely, we must
Yeah.
pray. But what do you do if your spouse don't pray with you? Do you then say to your spouse, you're never praying with me. You're not the man of the or the woman of the house. I don't love you anymore because you're out of line with the word of God. No, no, no. The Bible never says that you husband, he doesn't say you're the God of the house. He only says you're the husband and you must lead the family. But if you don't do it according to my expectations, it's fine. Because ultimately, that's belonging to God. He needs to sort that. Me, I can't say, my husband, you're not good enough because you're not praying with me. You're not reading the Bible enough. My job is to be the wife. But when I keep on sowing, I sow my generous love and my generous affection. Eventually, he will also pull that thing right. That is very important.
Yeah, and you know, my job as a man is to care for my house because what the Bible say, as God loved the church, so he will, so the husband must love his wife. Okay, so you must your wife, not the other thing, anybody else. You must love your wife. You must care for your wife. That's my responsibility. If things go wrong in the house, it's my responsibility that things must be sorted out. Because if things go haywire, I'm sorry, men, gentlemen, I'm pointing fingers at you. You have to sort things out because that's your responsibility. God expected that from you, that things must go right in the house.
And I see Linda Wallace, you've got such a great testimony here. You got married when you were 18 years old. Excellent. They are still married
Yeah.
42 years later. And she said she's got a real godly man. But there are many people that cannot say the same. So let's quickly look how we can sow into the lives of our spouse. Generous people, they have an outlook that is that they have everything. You know, when somebody's generous, let's talk about it. I just went to feed and help a group of people today. When I come there, I'm generous, giving to them from what I've got. What am I telling them? That I have to give, that I'm happy to give, and I'm so thrilled that they are receiving it with so much joy. Is that making sense to you? Isn't that the same with our family and our spouses? When I give from a generous heart, I say, I have love to give. I'm so happy that I can give you love, and I'm so thrilled that you receive it and that you enjoy it too. Ah, many people don't want to show their real truth. They don't want to show it, that they are really happy that they are receiving that love. And so it's important to know that your showing them, your giving to them, actually changes how they receive. So let's quickly look. But if you don't give generously, if you don't give generously, guess what you are saying? If you are greedy and you say, I'm not going to love you because you failed me here and that you didn't right and that you didn't do right. So because you failed me here, that I'm not going to give you anything. What am I saying? I've got nothing to give. I'm going to withhold from you and you don't deserve my love. Do you know that's not right? Because we think of something that Jesus has done. He died on the cross. Why did he die on the cross? Why did he do it for us? Simply because he was saying that I have to give. I want to give it to you. I have enough to give to you. I want to bless you with what I'm giving to you. And I know that you are going to enjoy that. Isn't that phenomenal to know that Jesus loves us so much? How much more should we be loving people? We often say, I'm not going to give. Do you know, when you don't give to your spouse, you are actually saying to Jesus, what you did for me isn't good enough as well.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about the few small things. Let's talk about flirting. Just a small thing. You know what? If I if I flirt with Marianne, look at you smiling.
I
But you know
love
what?
it.
But I love it when she flirts with me. I battled hard to flirt, but when sometimes you got that look in her face, and that's nothing to do with sex. It's just that look. She make my blood pressure go up and up and up because she didn't say anything, but she got that flirtation look in her eyes. So you know what? Let's get back to that flirtation and be like your first love when you first met. You can't keep your eyes on me. When you at this time when you was talking on the phone, it's just you hardly talk, but you know, are so in love. Let's get back to that flirtation again. As I say, listen and do new things together. You know, we always try to do new things,
Do
and it's
new
so
things.
exciting when we tackle something that is new that we never done before. You know, and we do it together and we succeed. And I'm not talking about business or anything, just something, anything. Climbing
Yeah.
a mountain for the first time. You know,
Yeah, we've
that
done
is-
that. We've done that.
Yeah.
We've done that. I don't think I will do that again. I think I've had my share of climbing mountains here in the Eastern Cape.
Lucy said, the look of love in your eye.
Do you know that if your spouse likes to watch a movie, a love story, why don't you watch it with her? It's Valentine's Day. Just sacrifice some of the things that you normally do and give your spouse a special love. I always think that Jesus Christ would laugh at us because we have so many set of rules and books and regulations. And I sometimes think we need to throw those books away and just start loving the way we did before we got married. Before we got married, we dated, we flirted,
Yeah.
we loved, we
Yeah.
spent time, discomfort,
Yeah.
discomfort time
Yeah.
together.
Can't
We
wait
did
to see
everything
it.
together. And you know what? If you can just get back to that just for this weekend, try it.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm going to do something that we did before we got
You
married.
can get it back, you know. As the song said, Lord, bring back those happy days. Bring back, you know, that's it. Those happy days. What's wrong to do it now? Because you don't date anymore, you don't flirt anymore, you don't do funny things together, you don't laugh together anymore. All those things, you lost that. So get that first love back. That first love that is when you fell in love with each other again.
So let's talk about the contact comfort because our time is running out. And I would like everybody this weekend to do something that's generous. Listen, I know you've been hurt. I know there are many people that's been hurting. I know that you've really been pushed aside. I know that you feel rejected. I know that your spouse is not perfect. But does it really matter when it comes to you? Because ultimately, you have to make a choice. It's your choice to sow the first seed. Try and sow the seeds this weekend.
Yeah.
Do something, a small act of kindness, something different that will change how your spouse feels about you. Why don't you just invite a friend and say, send a message to your friend. I say, what are you going to do that's special for your spouse? How are you going to change? Why do we have to do what the world is doing?
Yeah.
They do it that way. Let us do something fancy and new. Let's fall in love all over again. Let's sow the first seed of forgiveness. Write your spouse a letter, a little note, and put it on their car or their wherever and just say, I am loving you for who you are. Just as you are. You don't have to change. You don't have to become different. I'm loving you for who you are. That is something so special. And then tonight or this afternoon, just go sit like this for 2 minutes. It will not kill you. Even if your spouse pushes you aside, to stay there and say, do you know that I'm commanded
Yes.
by Dr. Arthur Frost's program? Charl and Marianne are talking about this and they say, I need to give you some contact comfort.
Yeah.
And if I give it to you, I get it back too.
Yeah.
So let's sow it this weekend.
And
Let's do something new.
And gentlemen, when she look at you, that look again, that you know that look, then start singing to her. You make me dizzy. I want to faint.
Just sing anything.
Sing
So-
anything. Just agree, accept or acknowledge that you notice that flirt look on the
So,
face.
Marina, thank you, Marina Rousseau. That is brilliant. She says, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Goodness me. You know, when you got married, you crossed many hurdles to get there. Now get over yourself.
Yeah.
Move past and beyond the thing that causes you to stop being up close with your spouse,
Yeah.
to stop being generous with your love. That thing that stops you from your generous giving, from your generous little acts of service, just move past. Get over yourself and just get to a place to say, I'm going to sow into what I want. You know, I always say to my children, what you want, you have to sow into.
Yeah.
It's time to sow.
Yeah. I think, yes. I know there's maybe some couples that, my husband will never change, or my wife will never change. You know what? If you put the two of you on an island, you will fall in love. So let's imagine yourself sitting on an island and you falling in love again, and it's just the two
Just the
of you.
two of you, alone on the
Just the
island.
two of you.
Can you imagine sipping
Yeah.
that like a cold drinks?
Yeah.
Listen to me. I see that somebody says it's not that easy
Yeah.
because there are circumstances. I understand that.
Yeah.
Try and sow one small act of kindness.
Yeah. Our time is
Just
almost
one.
running out.
So we're going to say good
Yeah.
night.
Thank you, Linda. Well, she said, Charl and Marianne. Thank you, David. David Martin said, what a wonderful couple you are. Thank you for tonight's session, and God help us for a godly marriage. Awesome. We thank you very much for the compliment. We will see you
Next
soon.
time. And I think next time we are definitely going to talk about the challenges we face with marriage, in your marriage with partners that are not saved.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to touch on that. But in the meantime, I see the responses coming through. We will be praying for your marriage, that the Lord will touch you. And that this weekend will not be a Valentine's weekend, but it will be a us weekend.
Yeah.
Where we will do something new that will set the spark alight in our marriage. God bless you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stay unbreakable in your marriage, because that's a good place to be in.
Yeah. From me, I will say, I wish I can see the change. You know, if you give him the first kiss tonight after you haven't, a surprise kiss, surprise hug, surprise thing. So give a surprise, man. Let's get to the surprises again. Not gifts, not necessarily gifts, other surprises that you've never done before. Try something
Small
different.
things,
Try.
tiny things.
If the things that you tried didn't work,
avoid them.
Avoid them. Try something else.
Try something new. Doesn't have to cost you a cent. God bless you.
God bless you.
Until next time.
Have a great time. Love
Have
you
a lovely
all.
weekend. God bless you.